there you have it, Drumforge sampler in the mix and soloed. I'm going to explain a little bit about what you just heard. So what I'm using is the preset natural, and the only thing I've done to it is I added a few more cymbals, and on a drum bus I have Saturn and a compressor. So basically there's no processing outside this plugin. Everything is in here, in a saturation, you can see in a tab. Everything is inside a sampler, and that was pretty impressive. Like, it sounds really good in the mix, and it sounds really good in solo too. Obviously, that is just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And now I'm going to address some of the problems that I've come across when I'm using this sampler. And hopefully the developers in Drumforge will take them into consideration and perhaps solve some of the problems if they think it makes sense and keep improving the plugin. I have to tell you that they did a great job in listening to their customers, because they already released a 1.1 update not long after their initial release based on user feedback. They fixed some stuff and they added some features in it, and that was really great, and I hope they'll keep that up. The first problem I'm going to address is that it doesn't have a overhead channel or a room channel. So it means that if you want to process the overheads and the rooms separately, you have to go through quite a lot of steps. So what I did here is that I have to go to the kick and send the overhead to its own group and send the room to its own group, and do that for all of the channels. So now I have this room here for the overheads, and that is quite a lot of trouble, you know. I spent like probably 10 to 15 minutes to figure that out, because I have to route it from the plugin to the DAW and everything. Another problem with that is when you change the kit, when you change this preset here, everything's changed. Like, all the routing and the channel you just made, it will be changed too. So I feel like it's a very major flaw. It's going to hold back some mixers in their workflow, and it's going to slow them down. The second problem I found is that it is very inconvenient if you want to change the bleed level. So for example, in here, I want to change the bleed level of the drums. You have to go in here, like, first of all, of course, you have to make the room and overhead channel by yourself. I already explained before. So in here, you have to manually click this open and adjust the fader. And if I want to adjust the cymbal, and you have to click that open and adjust the fader, and you have to do that. Which is quite, like, I mean, obviously is you can do it, but if you go to Superior Drummer, all you have to do if you want to change the bleed level of in the room, for example, you just click that, and you can adjust in here like this. You can even adjust a fill at the same time, and you can also adjust the bleed level of multiple channels at the same time. So like this. Now, that is very convenient. Like, for someone like me who always use drum samplers, I'm always very meticulous about the bleed level. It doesn't have that in here, and I believe that is quite a flaw as well. And the third one is that this is a really huge one too. I don't think you can do a full bleed mode in Drumforge plugin. So in Superior, you can have the bleed of all the instruments enabled, and if you go here, you can actually hear the mic bleed of other cymbals and shells. And I believe that is a very, very important part of if you want to simulate the most realistic drum sound. And I get it that it doesn't really make much sense for stuff like metal, but I still think in some scenario, like having full bleed drums, it's going to have its place in metal and all the genres. Like, if I want to do like jazz or even rock, I would want to have that have all the bleeds in there, and because that's what makes the drums sound full and alive in some way, in my opinion. Anyways, so in the future, I really hope Drumforge will find a way to make the bleed control in the sampler way easier, like the ones in Superior Drummer. And also, I wish they could have a full bleed mode. It's always good to have the option for the customers because it is competing with other drum samplers like a Superior Drummer and Slate. So that's another one that I wish they will incorporate in the future, full bleed mode and better bleed control. Another problem is that when you change the kit or any pieces of the drum kit, the routing changes too. Despite the fact that we have lots of great presets here, if I change this preset, I will not have any of these routings or the mappings. So it means that I basically can't change it because I put so much work in routing it and making sure the map is correct. And now I'm confined to this one because when I change everything changes. I'm going to refer back to Superior because I think TuneTrack has the best sampler in the market so far. When you change the drums, it doesn't change anything else. Like you will change the samples, but the routing and everything will stay the same. So that will make it very, very easy to audition different samples and everything because different people use different mappings and converting the map is always necessary. That's why I think it's a huge problem. It just doesn't make much sense if every time I change a piece, the routing change, the fader change, and everything changes. I feel like that would be a huge obstacle for producers and mixers. One last problem I'm going to address here is that the MIDI mapping mechanics is not as user-friendly as Superior Drummers. So for example, if I want to change the mapping for this one, everything's good. You click learn and then you click the key. But the problem with this is that I can't really hear what it is. You know, like in Superior, if I want to change the mapping of this, I can hear it. I can hear what it is, then I can assign it because I don't know what closed tight tip sounds like for this hi-hat and closed tight shaft. Different drum libraries, they have different sounds for the same name. And even in Superior and Drumforge, they have quite different names if you look at it. I think it would make a lot of sense if we can actually audition how it sounds by clicking these. And I also think this is probably not a problem per se. But having a keyboard here is so much easier when you do the mapping. Another thing is that this is definitely a flaw, I believe. Is that whenever you change the preset, the mapping changes too, and then there's no way for you to save the mapping. But in Superior Drummer, you can definitely save the mapping. You see, I have my own mappings, and you can save it. And you can clear all the mappings too. So I think that's something that they need to improve on because MIDI is so important. And sometimes one of the biggest problem with me is that I'm so used to the Superior Drummer mapping. It's so hard for me to switch entirely over to another sampler. And that's it for today. I will probably demo Drumforge in a metal mix in the future. If you like that idea, let me know. If you like this video, like it. If you don't like it, dislike it. If you like my content, subscribe. And I will see you in the next video.